At the very bottom of the world, there is a place that does not follow the rules. This is Patagonia. And it is not what you think. Here the land feels like it is falling apart. Mountains sink into the sea. Wind runs so fast it can knock people off their feet. And long ago, a simple misunderstanding turned this place into a legend, a land once believed to be home to giants. Patagonia stretches across Argentina and Chile, from endless plains to frozen fjords. It is huge, wild, and almost empty. Even today, it still feels like the edge of the earth. This is a land shaped by wind, ice, and stories. Watch closely, because every part of this journey reveals a side of Patagonia that feels unreal. And by the end, you may wonder if this place truly belongs to our world at all. As the land slowly breaks into wind and water, life here does not disappear, it multiplies. Along the Atlantic coast of Argentina and deep inside Chile's icy fjords, the ocean becomes busiest in summer and fall when cold waters bring food close to shore. On rocky beaches and small islands, Magellanic penguins form huge colonies, living side by side in a region where animals still outnumber people, even as these birds must now swim farther to survive. Farther out at sea, patient eyes may catch a blue whale rising for air. The largest animal on Earth, appearing briefly as it nurses its calf before sinking back into the deep. In the narrow waters of the Strait of Magellan, humpback whales gather in large numbers, their movements filling the silence of the fjords with splashes and breath. The beaches themselves are never empty, as elephant seals rest in massive groups during breeding season, turning the shoreline into a living landscape. Moving inland, the open plains reveal guanacos, wild relatives of llamas, grazing across grasslands and rocky slopes throughout the year. Between bushes and dry ground, armadillos dig quietly, while grey foxes and rheas roam the peninsula, giving life to a land that first appears empty. At the top of the food chain, pumas move silently through these same landscapes. High above them all, Andean condors glide on rising air, linking sea, land and sky in one wild system that still belongs to nature. Before we move on to the next place, take a moment to think. Where is Patagonia located? Leave your answer in the comments below. Imagine standing in front of a wall of ice taller than a 20-story building, then hearing it crack like thunder. This is Perito Moreno Glacier, rising above bright turquoise water in Patagonia's Los Glaciares National Park, glowing white and blue in the cold air. Unlike most glaciers on Earth, Perito Moreno is still growing, even as nearby glaciers slowly shrink. The glacier stretches for about 19 miles and rises nearly 240 feet above the lake, making its size easy to feel even from far away. It is part of a huge ice field shared by Argentina and Chile, one of the largest freshwater reserves in the world and protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Viewing platforms are built at a safe distance, yet close enough for visitors to feel cold air flowing from the ice. Over time, pressure causes enormous ice blocks to break off and fall into the lake. A natural process that reshapes the glacier again and again. For those who want to go farther, guided tours lead onto the glacier's surface, where deep cracks and blue ice reveal its age. What looks like a pool of glowing green glass suddenly appears at the end of the trail, and for a moment it feels unreal. Hidden just outside Ushuaia, Laguna Esmeralda gets its striking colour from minerals carried down by ice and stone over thousands of years. The water comes from the Ojo del Albino Glacier in the Sierra Alvear, about 20 kilometres from the city, slowly feeding the lagoon below. In the past, this lake was much smaller and even shared the glacier's name, growing wider as melting ice reshaped the land. Most visitors reach the lagoon on foot, following a well-marked trail. That takes about 4 hours round trip. The hike is gentle enough for beginners, with chances to stop and notice Patagonian plants, birds, and sometimes red foxes or beavers near their dams. Compared to the crashing ice and roaring winds nearby, this place feels calm and still. That mix of easy access and untouched scenery has made Laguna Esmeralda one of the most popular walks in Tierra del Fuego. Just when Patagonia feels wild and empty, a mountain town appears that looks like it belongs in the Alps. Set on the southern shore of Lake Nahuel, Huapi, Bariloche sits at the foothills of the Patagonian Andes, surrounded by forests, water, and snow-capped peaks. Its name comes from the Mapuche language, meaning people from behind the mountain. Today, Bariloche is the most visited city in Patagonia, and one of Argentina's top travel destinations, drawing people in every season. In 2012, the Argentine government officially named it the National Capital of Adventure Tourism. In winter, nearby slopes turn the town into a major ski centre, while summer brings hikers, cyclists, kayakers, and climbers to the lakes and trails. The city is also known for its European-style architecture, with wooden buildings, small streets, and mountain lodges shaping its identity. Bariloche is also famous for artisan chocolate and local draft beer, with shops lining the small streets. Even in summer, the cold air from Lake Nahuel Huapi can make days feel chilly, so warm clothing is always needed. Many travellers use Bariloche as a base to explore the Lake District, including the famous Seven Lakes region nearby. Torres del Paine sits where forests fade into dry steppe and ice fields meet open plains. The park is located in southern Chilean Patagonia, about 112 kilometres north of the city of Puerto Natales. It covers more than 180,000 hectares, making it one of the largest protected natural areas in Chile. This mix of landscapes exists because the park lies between mountains, glaciers, lakes, and wide open plains. At the centre of the park rises the Cordillera del Paine, a mountain range formed from hard granite. Its most famous features are 3 tall granite towers that reach about 2,500 metres above sea level. The area is known for fast-changing weather, with strong winds common throughout much of the year. Even in summer, temperatures stay cool and rarely rise above 16 degrees Celsius. The park was first established as a protected area in 1959 and later renamed Torres del Paine. Today, it is part of Chile's national system of protected wild areas. and receives hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. In 1520, Ferdinand Magellan sailed past the southern tip of South America and saw flames along the shoreline. They were built by people living in one of the coldest places on Earth. That moment gave the land its name, Tierra del Fuego, or Land of Fire. The earliest known human settlement here dates back to around 8000 BC, showing that people have lived in this harsh region for thousands of years. Europeans first explored the islands during Magellan's expedition. But permanent settlement did not begin until the late 1800s. Today, the northern part of Tierra del Fuego focuses on petroleum extraction, while tourism, manufacturing, and Antarctic logistics are important in the south. The archipelago is home to extreme landscapes, where guanacos and wild horses roam freely and solitary condors glide over the mountains. Weather is cold and wet, with frequent rain and snow. Winter lasts from mid-May to September, closing many roads and trails. Summer, from late October to April, is the best time to visit, when all hiking paths and tours are open, and the long daylight allows for exploration of the islands. Is this place on your travel list yet? Comment 1 if you've been, or 2 if it's now a must-see for you. El Calafate lies on the southern edge of Lago Argentino, in the province of Santa Cruz, Argentina, and serves as the main hub for visitors exploring Patagonia's icy wilderness. The city takes its name from the native Calafate bush, a plant with yellow flowers and dark blue berries that grows all around the region. Originally a small shelter for wool traders, El Calafate was officially founded in 1927 to encourage settlement in this remote land. Tourism became the town's driving force after nearby Los Glaciares National Park was established, linking El Calafate to some of Patagonia's greatest natural wonders. El Calafate climate is cold and semi-arid, with warm, dry summers, and cooler, slightly wetter winters influenced by the vast lake beside it. El Calafate is known for its friendly locals, who help guide visitors to nearby natural attractions safely. The surrounding steppe and mountains are home to wildlife, such as guanacos, foxes, condors, and numerous bird species. Despite its small size, the town combines comfort, adventure, and access to unique landscapes, offering visitors a full Patagonian experience. Named the End of the World, it started as a military outpost and prison, where convicts were sent to cut wood, build roads, and lay the foundations of a city at the southern edge of the earth. The harsh climate, fierce winds, and isolation made life brutal, and many prisoners never left the settlement alive. Over time, small groups of settlers arrived, drawn by the promise of land and a chance to survive in this remote region. By the early 20th century, Ushuaia had developed from a penal colony into a small town, with schools, churches, and basic infrastructure. Prison labour gradually ended, and the government encouraged families to move here, planting the seeds for a permanent civilian community. Railroads and ports were constructed using the very labour of former inmates and settlers, linking the town to the rest of Argentina. By the mid-20th century, Ushuaia had evolved into the administrative and cultural centre of Tierra del Fuego, no longer just a remote outpost. Despite modernization, the city retained its rugged character, with steep hills, fjords, and glaciers serving as reminders of its wild beginnings. This info comes from multiple sources. Spot anything off or have something to add? Let us know in the comments. It took until 1952 for the first climbers to reach Fitz Roy's summit. And even today, only a handful of people ever succeed. This is one of the hardest peaks on Earth. Fitz Roy rises on the border between Argentina and Chile, guarding the small town of El Chaltén, known as Argentina's trekking capital. The mountain stands inside Los Glaciares National Park. Its sharp granite peak leans forward, often covered in snow and cloud, giving it a shape found nowhere else in Patagonia. Ancient people named it Chaltén, meaning the smoking mountain, because clouds constantly wrap around its summit like rising steam. Unstable weather allows climbing only during a short summer window, from November to February, when conditions are calm enough to try. Even in that window, climbers must move fast, using brief calm hours before strong winds and storms return. Most visitors experience Fitz Roy from below, using well-marked trails that pass forests, valleys, and glacial lakes. These routes let people see the mountain from many angles in complete safety without ever needing to climb it. In the southwest of Santa Cruz, Argentina, Los Glaciares National Park stretches across more than 700,000 hectares of glaciers, mountains, forests, and Patagonian steppe. Created to protect this unique landscape, the park preserves one of the largest ice sheets outside Antarctica. Here, 47 huge glaciers flow alongside more than 200 smaller ones, all feeding lakes and rivers throughout the park. Some glaciers begin at just 1,500 metres above sea level and descend to 200 metres, letting visitors see the ice up close like nowhere else in the world. As you explore the trails, you might spot herds of guanacos, curious grey foxes, while condors and eagles circle high overhead. The park's lakes and rivers are home to native fish like peladilla and rainbow trout, and exotic species have been kept out to protect the ecosystem. Visitors can enjoy Los Glaciares any time of year. Winter brings quiet, snowy landscapes, while summer shows lush green forests and long, bright days. To make the most of your trip, be ready with sunscreen, sunglasses, warm clothes, and a waterproof jacket for all the weather that Patagonia can bring. El Chaltén sits on the northern edge of Lake Viedma, where the Las Vueltas and Fitz Roy rivers meet, deep inside Los Glaciares National Park. This small town is surrounded by glaciers, hidden lagoons, and the towering Mount Fitz Roy, whose peak is almost always covered in clouds. The name Chaltén comes from the Tehuelche people and means smoky mountain, because they thought the clouds looked like smoke rising from the summit. Founded in 1985, it is Argentina's youngest town, created as a base for trekkers and climbers from all over the world. El Chaltén quickly grew as pioneers and European settlers arrived at the end of the 19th century to start estancias and explore the land. Today, El Chaltén is known as Argentina's national capital of trekking, offering epic trails, incredible views, and a connection to both nature and history. Perched on a tiny rocky island in the Beagle Channel, the Eclaireurs lighthouse stands alone against the wind and waves, flashing its light for anyone daring to sail past Ushuaia. This 11-metre tall tower, painted in red and white stripes, rises 22 metres above the sea, its beam visible for nearly 14 kilometres. Built over a century ago, it was completed in 1919, but only became operational in December 1920, after harsh weather and limited materials delayed its launch. The lighthouse was placed on the northeastern island of the Eclaireurs group, a set of rocky outcrops that Captain Louis-Ferdinand Martial once named the Scouts. Sea lions lounge in the sun on the surrounding rocks, while black and white cormorants perch along the cliffs, making the island a small but lively ecosystem. Along the eastern edge of Lake Vizarrica, the town of Pucón stretches toward the base of the Andes. Its Mapudungun name, meaning entrance to the Cordillera, hints at its location at the start of the Trancura Valley. In 1552, Spanish settlers founded Vizarrica here to mine gold. But volcanic lahars buried the deposits and forced them to move west. Pucón was re-established in 1883 as a fort after the occupation of Araucania. Taking advantage of its strategic location near Mapuche, routes through the mountains. Tourism began to grow in the 1920s with the opening of the first hotels, and continued as roads connected Pucón to Vizarrica and nearby lakes. The clear waters of Lake Vizarrica, combined with forests and the volcano, provide ideal conditions for outdoor activities. The region's mild summer climate makes these activities accessible, while winter offers opportunities for skiing and snow adventures. Nearby lakes and rivers support kayaking, canoeing, and fishing, connecting visitors directly with the local environment. Keep watching, because the journey ahead uncovers landscapes and stories that completely change how Patagonia feels. Hualaihué means place of the Hualas, named for the Nothofagus trees that blanket the region. The commune lies deep in Chilean Patagonia, where fjords carve the coastline and mountains rise sharply from the water. For centuries, its port served as a lifeline, connecting scattered communities across remote islands and channels. Explorers and settlers relied on these waters to bring goods, ideas, and new settlers into the region. Forestry and fishing became the backbone of the local economy, a tradition that continues in modern times. Over time, the area became a destination for ecotourism, drawing travellers to its forests, fjords, and unspoiled landscapes. Hualaihué is more than a place on a map. It is a living connection to Patagonia's past, where nature and culture intertwine. At the edge of the world, a city rises where the Strait of Magellan meets the Southern Ocean. Punta Arenas, once called Sandy Point, has long marked the southernmost reach of human settlement in the Americas. Founded in 1848 as a small penal colony, it was Chile's assertion of sovereignty over the strategic strait. Its remote location made it one of the world's southernmost ports, a gateway to the Antarctic Peninsula. In 1881, Chile secured control of the strait through a treaty with Argentina, cementing the city's geopolitical importance. Today, it stands as a vital hub for science, exploration, and logistics in the far south. There is a place in Patagonia where a glacier hangs in the air and pours ice into a green lagoon below. It is called Queulat National Park, and even many Chileans have never seen it. Hidden in Chile's Aysén region, this park covers more than 1,500 square kilometres of glacier-capped mountains and untouched evergreen forest. It lies north of Laguna San Rafael, where the Patagonian Andes meet thick, temperate rainforests. High above the trees, the Queulat hanging glacier clings to a cliff. As the ice melts, waterfalls form, including the famous Ventisquero Colgante, where water and ice crash into the Tempanos River. In 1766, a Jesuit priest walked this land searching for a mythical golden city, never knowing he was already standing in something rare. Wildlife is quiet here, but those who watch closely may spot a tiny poodoo deer, a river otter, or the shy cod hidden in the trees. What if I told you a volcano that's been dead for over 100 years is actually a ticking time bomb monitored by scientists 24/7? This is Osorno, one of the most active stratovolcanoes in the Andes, hiding 11 violent eruptions beneath its peaceful snowy peak. Rising 2,652 metres above the southern Chilean lakes. Its perfect cone dominates the entire landscape, visible even from the island of Chiloé. The volcano sits between Hualaihué and Osorno provinces, guarding the sparkling waters of both Lago Hualaihué and Lago Todos los Santos. Long before the Spanish settlers arrived to Arauz, native tribes knew Osorno by names like Puraiza and Peripizan, seeing it as a powerful presence in their lands. Basalt and andesite lava flows from past eruptions reach the lakes themselves, leaving traces of fire on water. People compare its symmetrical shape to Japan's Mount Fuji, a sight so striking it becomes the symbol of the region. Today, Osorno lures travellers to ski its snowy slopes, hike its trails, and witness a volcano that's both calm and alive in history. Petrohué River begins its journey from the crystal waters of Todos los Santos Lake. Deep inside Vicente Pérez Rosales National Park in Chile's Los Lagos region. For about 36 kilometres, this river cuts through ancient valleys carved by glaciers and volcanic forces, before meeting the Reloncaví estuary. As the river flows, it forms the famous Petrohué waterfalls, where emerald green waters crash over dark lava rocks left behind by past eruptions of the mighty Osorno volcano. These powerful cascades and roaring rapids are framed by lush forests that thrive in the region's wet, temperate climate. The volcanic stones beneath the riverbed were created when fiery lava met water, cooling into solid basalt that now shapes the river's dramatic course. Petrohué's waters are also famous among anglers, drawing fly fishing enthusiasts seeking trout and salmon. Against a backdrop of thundering waterfalls and silent woods. If you ever travel through southern Chile, Isla Aucar is a place that should not be overlooked. Just off the coast of Chiloé, this tiny island feels like a quiet world apart. A 437-metre wooden bridge connects it to the main island. guiding visitors across the water into a calm and timeless space. Isla Aucar measures only 300 metres long and 110 metres wide. Across from the island lies a peaceful wetland, where many birds gather, including the elegant black-necked swan. Lake Argentino holds more than 200 billion cubic metres of water, making it one of the largest freshwater bodies in all of South America. It is fed directly by massive glaciers, including Perito, Moreno, and its water eventually flows all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Covering more than 1,500 square kilometres, it is the largest lake in Argentina. Some parts reach depths of up to 500 metres, placing it among the deepest lakes in the Americas. The lake sits near the town of El Calafate, at about 180 metres above sea level in the heart of Los Glaciares National Park. Fine particles from this melting ice create a pale blue colour known as glacial milk, giving the lake its unusual look. From here, water becomes the Santa Cruz River, beginning a long journey toward the Atlantic Ocean. For years, explorers confused this lake with another, and it remained unnamed until 1877, when it was finally recognised as its own giant. The waters and shores of Lake Argentino support a wide variety of wildlife, with around 150 species of birds recorded in and around the lake area, including flamingos, swans, ducks, and large flying condors soaring above the mountains. Local stories say a creature called Nahuelito still moves beneath the dark waters of this lake. Whether real or not, that mystery gave birth to Nahuel Huapi, a park where nature feels alive in every direction. Founded in 1934, Nahuel Huapi is the oldest national park in Argentina and one of the largest, covering more than 7,000 square kilometres. Its name comes from the Mapuche language, where Nahuel means puma and Huapi means island. In the past, explorers crossed these mountains, searching for lost cities and new routes through Patagonia. The park now offers trails for trekking, peaks for climbing, and lakes for boating and fishing. Every path leads deeper into untouched landscapes, where human marks quickly fade. Nahuel Huapi became the heart of Patagonia's wilderness. A place where stories, history, and nature still meet. Over 14,000 years ago, humans were already living in this land, long before most of the Americas were settled. Today, that same ground is called Los Lagos, a region of lakes, islands, and stories older than memory. Long before modern borders existed, the Huiziche people named this land Futahuizimapu, meaning the Great Land of the South. Their world stretched between rivers, forests, and seas, shaped by water and mountains that still define the region today. In the 1500s, Spanish ships reached the Chiloé archipelago, bringing a new chapter that changed the islands forever. Centuries later, German settlers arrived along Lake Yanguihue, leaving behind wooden houses, farms, and traditions that still remain. Fishing, forests, and salmon farms support daily life, while travellers arrive for skiing, hiking, and quiet moments by the water. Los Lagos is not just a beautiful place, it is a living timeline, where ancient footsteps and modern journeys share the same ground. A Selknam legend says this channel was born when stones fell from the sky during a battle between gods. Long before ships arrived, the Yagan people lived along these icy shores, travelling by canoe and surviving here for more than 10,000 years. Today, the Beagle Channel still cuts between islands at the very tip of South America, separating Argentina from Chile. In the 1800s, the ship HMS Beagle sailed through these waters, carrying a young Charles Darwin on his first close look at glaciers. Darwin wrote that the blue of the ice was more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. These same waters later became a place of tension, as Chile and Argentina argued for decades over the tiny islands nearby. Navies once faced each other here, turning this quiet channel into a border of conflict. Now, the Beagle Channel is peaceful again, used by travellers who sail past glaciers, forests, and snow-covered peaks. Stay with us and keep watching, because the next moments will change how you see this place. Puerto Madryn stands on the edge of Argentine Patagonia, beside Golfo Nuevo, protected by the Valdez Peninsula and Punta Ninfas. This natural bay keeps the water calm, creating a safe place for ships, people, and marine life. The city was named in the 1860s after Love Jones Parry, a Welsh explorer who came here to search for land for a new colony. Today, Puerto Madryn is the closest and most important base for reaching Peninsula Valdez, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Each year, southern right whales swim into these waters, making this one of the best places in the world to see them. Penguins, elephant seals, sea lions, dolphins, and even orcas live along this same coast. Even with a cold desert climate and very little rain, life thrives between sea and steppe. Beaches, dunes, and wide plains surround the city, offering space for diving, kayaking, trekking, and biking. In Puerto Madryn, a quiet desert shoreline becomes a front row seat to Patagonia's wildest life. "100,000 years ago, a catastrophic eruption destroyed the original structure of this land, carving out a massive basin more than 6 kilometres wide. What you see in Villarrica today is only a fragment of an ancient giant that once ruled the Andes. Rising above lakes and forests in southern Chile, Villarrica is now one of the most active volcanoes in the country. The Mapuche people call it Rucapezeñ, meaning the house of the Great Spirit, a name born from watching fire and smoke rise from its peak. This glowing heart releases gas day and night, making scientists monitor it closely as part of global volcanic research. Its slopes are covered in snow and glaciers, creating a striking contrast between ice above and molten rock below. During past eruptions, melting snow mixed with ash created fast-moving mudflows that rushed down toward nearby towns. In quiet months, guided climbers walk these same slopes, using crampons to cross ice and reach the rim of the crater. Hualaihué Lake is the second largest lake in Chile, covering a huge area in the Los Lagos region of northern Patagonia. Its wide, fan-like shape was carved by massive glaciers that moved across this land during the Ice Age. The final glacial period here was so important that scientists named it the Hualaihué Glaciation. Long before modern towns appeared, historians believe this area lay within the roaming lands of the Chono people. Today, the lake sits beneath the snow-capped volcano Osorno, creating one of the most famous views in southern Chile. Towns like Puerto Varas grew along its shores, turning the lake into a center for travel and daily life. Tourism became the main economy here because this single view draws visitors year-round. With a surface of over 800 square kilometers, Hualaihué feels more like an inland sea than a lake. The name Hualaihué comes from the Mapuche language and means submersion, a memory of land once covered by ice and meltwater. This is not just a mountain road. It is the southernmost gateway on Earth, where every car that passes is crossing the last spine of the Andes. Built at kilometre 3007 of Argentina's Route 3, it reaches about 450 metres above sea level, the highest point on the road to Ushuaia. This is the only paved route that crosses the Fuegian Andes, carrying every truck, bus and car that connects this side of Tierra del Fuego with the rest of Argentina. In winter, heavy snow can shut it down. The path was first found in 1936 by Luis Garibaldi, guided by a story from his Selknam grandmother about a hidden crossing. What began as a narrow trail became a road only in 1956, when the first vehicle finally crossed between Ushuaia and Rio Grande. At the edge of a cold fjord where the land opens to the sea, a small city stands as the last stop before Patagonia turns wild again. Puerto Natales lies in southern Chile, 247 kilometers from Punta Arenas, and is the only city in the vast province of Ultima Esperanza. It sits at the mouth of the Ultima Esperanza Sound, a natural gateway between ocean routes and the mountains beyond. Long before modern maps, this coast was home to the Kawesca and Tehuelche peoples, who travelled these waters in small boats. In 1557, Spanish explorer Juan Ladrillero became the first European to reach this area, while searching for a western path to the Strait of Magellan. The town itself grew in the late 1800s, built by immigrants from Europe and later by Chilean families, many arriving from Chiloé to work with sheep. Today, Puerto Natales is best known as the main transit point for travellers heading to Torres del Paine National Park. Ferries from northern Chile end their journey here, making the city a natural meeting place between sea routes and land adventures. Tourism now drives the local economy, though cattle farming and aquaculture remain important to daily life. Circuito Chico is a famous scenic route near San Carlos de Bariloche in Argentine Patagonia, winding around lakes, forests, and mountains. The name Circuito Chico literally means small circuit, but the views along this route feel anything but small. The loop is about 60 to 65 kilometers long and takes most visitors 3 to 4 hours to complete, if you stop at viewpoints and beaches along the way. You can explore Circuito Chico by car, bus, or bike. And many people choose an electric bike to help with the ups and downs. One highlight is Cerro Campanario, where a short chairlift ride brings you to a lookout over Lake Nahuel Huapi and Lake Perito Moreno. Another stop is the Xiao Xiao Hotel area, set between lakes and forests, with trails and cafes to explore. No matter how you choose to experience it, Circuito Chico is one of the most iconic and accessible ways to see Patagonia's lakes, forests, and mountain beauty all in one unforgettable loop. Cerro Catedral rises just 19 kilometers from San Carlos de Bariloche, inside Nahuel Huapi National Park in Argentine, Patagonia. It is one of South America's most important ski resorts, covering 6 square kilometers with 48 kilometers of ski runs. The lifts can carry up to 35,000 skiers per hour, making it a hub for winter sports in the Southern Hemisphere. From the slopes, visitors enjoy sweeping views of Lake Nahuel Huapi and the surrounding Andes Mountains. At the foot of the mountain, hotels and hostels accommodate skiers and hikers alike. The climate changes dramatically with altitude, from cool Mediterranean at the base to alpine or tundra conditions at higher elevations. Cerro Catedral has the highest number of snowfall days in Argentina, averaging 98 days each year. This combination of natural beauty, winter sports, and accessibility makes Cerro Catedral a must-visit destination in Patagonia. Cerro Marshall rises just 7 kilometers northwest of Ushuaia, making it one of the closest mountain experiences to the southernmost city on Earth. Its name comes from the French naval officer Louis Ferdinand Marshall, who explored this region in the 1880s. In winter, Cerro Marshall becomes a local ski centre, where people can ski, snowboard, and learn winter sports near Ushuaia. The Marshall Glacier itself lies high on the mountain. It's ice-feeding streams that help supply drinking water to the city. Despite its easy access, about a 15-minute drive from Ushuaia, the trails can challenge visitors, especially when snow and ice make conditions cold and slippery. Lago Escondido lies tucked between mountains and forests in Argentine Patagonia, a hidden gem that feels far from the world. The lake is smaller than its neighbours, giving it an intimate and peaceful atmosphere that attracts those seeking quiet and nature. Adventure travellers come here for hiking along forested trails or sport fishing for brown and rainbow trout in its clear waters. Summer from December to March brings longer days, warmer weather, and active wildlife, making it perfect for hiking and fishing. Winter from June to September transforms the lake into a snowy wonderland, ideal for those who enjoy serene beauty and solitude. Travelling in the shoulder months from April to June offers fewer tourists and lower costs, letting budget travellers experience Lago Escondido without crowds. San Eduardo Chapel, known locally as Capilla San Eduardo, was built in 1938 in the Xiao Xiao area of Bariloche, Argentina. It was designed by the famous Argentine architect Alejandro Bustizo, who also created the nearby Hotel Xiao Xiao. The chapel sits on a gentle rise within Nahuel Huapi National Park, offering special views over forests, mountains, and lakes. Chiloé Island is the largest island of the Chiloé archipelago, off the southern coast of Chile and the second largest island in the country. It covers about 8,394 square kilometres and features dense forests, rolling hills, wetlands, and rugged Pacific shoreline. The island's culture blends indigenous traditions with Spanish colonial influences giving it a unique identity. Over 16 wooden churches on the island are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, known for being built without nails in a distinct architectural style. Colourful stilt houses called palafitos, especially in Castro, are iconic features that adapt to tidal changes along the coast. The island's wet, cool maritime climate helps sustain rare temperate rainforests and rich biodiversity, including important bird and marine life. Chilote folklore is legendary, with myths of sea spirits, ghost ships, and forest beings woven into local beliefs and storytelling. Chiloé also played a key role in Chilean history, remaining loyal to Spain longer than most regions and only joining Chile in 1826. National Route 40, commonly called Ruta 40, is the longest highway in Argentina, stretching over about 5,194 kilometers, from the far south to the Bolivian border in the north. It runs roughly parallel to the Andes Mountains, linking vastly different landscapes including deserts, high-altitude plateaus, lakes, forests, and glaciers. Along the way, it crosses 11 Argentine provinces. Route 40 passes by 20 national parks and 18 major rivers, making it a scenic route for nature and the outdoor enthusiasts. Today, it's famous among road trip travellers and adventure seekers for its varied terrain, remote stretches, and the sense of journeying through the full breadth of Argentina's landscapes. As the wind sweeps across the plain and the glaciers shine under the Patagonian sun, every corner of this land seems to tell a story. From the wild shores to the quiet green pools, Patagonia surprises at every turn. The mountains, forests, and lakes each have their own rhythm, inviting travellers to pause, look closer, and breathe it all in. Every hike, every glance at a wildlife colony, and every ripple on a lake creates a memory that lingers long after the trip ends. It is a place where adventure and reflection exist side by side, offering both challenges and quiet moments of awe. For those who seek it, Patagonia becomes more than a destination, it becomes a story you carry with you. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in the next adventure.